Before we get started with this video, I want to let you guys know about my Discord server. We're talking college basketball live games, just college basketball in general, bracketology, Q&As, all that stuff. Hit the link in the description to join the Super Celtic 24 Discord server. Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to another edition of the Bracketology update. This one is for Friday, February 25th, and man, we are getting so close to March. Next bracketology that I do, what is it? Saturday is going to be the 26th, Sunday 27th, March 28th. That means on the Tuesday bracketology, it will officially be March. And man, I am so freaking excited. Business is picking up in the college basketball scene. Last night we had a great Ohio State-Illinois game where Ohio State won on the road at Illinois. And then, if you guys checked out my channel, I went to the Kentucky-LSU game on Wednesday night. I posted a vlog with some video content from that game, got some tickets, and sat in the lower bowl. So that was pretty cool to see. And Kentucky ended up fighting back from a double-digit first-half deficit to come back and win. It was a little bit scary there at the end, not going to lie, but a win's a win without our two-point guards and with Kellen Grady and Sheway both playing almost 40 minutes. So that was pretty interesting to see. But anyway, before we get kind of into the bracket analysis, I want to go ahead and mention the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway. If I hit 7,777 subscribers by March 14th, or March 13th, I believe, yeah, Selection Sunday, March 13th, I'll give it away on the 14th. I will be giving away an NCAA tournament ticket first round, and man, I am super excited to do that this year. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, Super Celtic 24, turn those post notifications on, take a screenshot, send it over to @AlexPrice24 on Instagram. Details on how to do that are in the description below, and then you'll get a confirmation message from me. Let me know what your favorite team is and all that stuff. And yeah, that's how you enter the tournament ticket away. Super excited to do that this year. I'll be going to the Indianapolis sites where hopefully I'll get to see Kentucky play. They're my favorite team, of course, and we got some other teams as well. I'd like to see some great games. So anyway, going down to the bracket watch, top overall seed is Gonzaga. I mean, they had an interesting game against San Francisco last night. San Francisco hung around in the first half, but then Gonzaga just overwhelmed them as they do with most of their conference opponents. They'll probably remain the top overall seed whenever Selection Sunday comes around. Then the first team out is SMU. Last team in is Memphis. A lot of American Conference representatives there. Will be interesting to kind of see what happens. Then taking a look at the bubble, last four byes are Rutgers and Michigan. Rutgers went on the road to Michigan, but Michigan hung on. They held home court, and they got a win in their first game since Juwan Howard got suspended. So we have TCU and North Carolina, a lot of big name schools there, a lot of Power 5 schools. Last four in are Loyola Chicago. They beat Evansville by 51, but that's kind of expected. They have actually not been doing too well over the last month or so. They lost the automatic qualifier to Northern Iowa, which they could get it back this weekend. Those two teams play in a battle in the MVC. I think it's the MVC. That'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. Then we have San Francisco, who needs to get some quality wins. Indiana, who staved off, I think it was Maryland last night, to get a victory there. They need to get a quality win. And then Memphis, first four out are SMU, San Diego State, who lost a great opportunity. I want to say it was to Boise State. I may be wrong on that. Or maybe it was Colorado State back on Tuesday or Wednesday. Then we have BYU and Dayton. Then the next four out are Oregon, who got a huge win last night against UCLA to stay in that bubble picture. Then St. Bonaventure, Virginia, and Florida. Florida's going to have a great opportunity at home against Kentucky coming up. I think that's next weekend. I may be wrong on that, though, because I think Kentucky plays Arkansas this weekend. But taking a look here at the movement in the bracket, over there in the West Regional, we have Miami up to a 9, Ohio State up to a 4 after that game I just mentioned against Illinois. Davidson's up to an 11. Texas Tech is down to a 3. That's just more because Duke got a better win against Virginia this week. Then we have Michigan State down to a 7. Creighton up to a 10. Michigan State's lost, I think it's either 5 out of their last 6 or 6 out of their last 7 games. Hopefully they can turn it around. Then Duke is up to a 2. Then over there in the South Regional, we got South Dakota State up to a 12. Illinois down to a 4 after that loss to Ohio State. Iowa up to a 6. North Carolina down to an 11. Tennessee up to a 3. Then if we look over at the Midwest Regional, we have New Mexico State up to a 13 as the automatic qualifier. TCU down to an 11. Then we have Michigan up to a 10. They are starting to turn that season around. That'd be a great, I'd love to see that pod right there. Marquette, Michigan, and then Kentucky, Jacksonville State. I mean, the other Indianapolis Pod 2, Iowa State, and then Wake Forest, Purdue, Colgate. There could be some great matchups there. And then looking over there at the East, we have Xavier down to an 8 after that crazy. I should have mentioned that game at the top of the video. Xavier versus Providence, 3 overtimes, had to delay because the ceiling was leaking. Oh man, the ceiling is the roof. Michael Jordan reference there, but that was a crazy game. Great win by Providence to hold home court there. Houston down to a 5. And then San Francisco down to a 12. Iowa State up to a 7. They're starting to get some quality wins back on their resume. And Wake Forest down to a 10. So as you guys know, every bracketology that I do, I go to vertex42.com, download the bracket, and then fill in the teams for the bracketology. And you can't download the bracket that I make just because I can't post it anywhere. But it's easy to do. All you gotta do is just go to vertex42.com, download it, and then fill in the teams yourself. It takes like 5 minutes to do. It's not bad at all. But before we get into my predictions, we got to do our 2-word food item to see who's actually paying attention to these videos and not just skipping to the end to see who I end up picking as the national champion. If you're watching this video at this point, let's do chicken. Let's do chicken in and then the letter N with that little apostrophe and dumplings. I had some Cracker Barrel on Wednesday. Man, got some old country cooking. I love me some Cracker Barrel, so let's go with some chicken and dumplings. But all right, here we go. Going into our picks, obviously we're going to have Gonzaga beat the winner of Texas Southern and New Orleans. Then I think that Colorado State will be able to beat Miami. I'm kind of flip-flopping on Colorado State. They'll probably be like an 8 or 9 whenever their actual bracketology comes around. I'm going to have them beat Miami, though. Connecticut, I think, can beat Iona. Then I was going to pick, if Ohio State hadn't beaten Illinois, I would have gone with Toledo. But since Ohio State did, I think I am going to go with Ohio State there. Toledo, I think, can make some noise there as a potential 13, maybe even 12 seed, so keep an eye on them. I am going to go with Davidson here, pulling off the upset, 11-6 over USC. Texas Tech will beat Texas State there. That one's pretty obvious. Then Michigan State will beat Creighton, and then Duke will beat Yale. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Gonzaga advancing on past Colorado State. Connecticut versus Ohio State. That one's going to be interesting. Connecticut just got a huge win this week against Villanova. Ohio State also got a huge win against Illinois. I'm going to go with Ohio State there, but that's like a 51-49. I'm going to go with the best player on the court, in E.J. Liddell. Then Texas Tech will beat Davidson. And then I'm going to go with an upset pick here. This is going to be very controversial with Michigan State over Duke. I do think that Duke is one of the best teams, or one of the title favorites. But the way that Duke has been playing recently, I don't think you can look at any of their recent games and say that's a national title contender. I mean, they've been getting quality wins. They've gotten a couple losses here and there, but I don't think they've really had, other than their win against Gonzaga and then against Kentucky earlier in the season, I don't think there's really a game that you can point to where Duke just absolutely mauled over their opponent. Michigan State, I know they are on a really bad stretch recently. But I just believe if they can limit their turnovers, I think Michigan State could pull it off. And why not have some fun in this bracketology? Then Gonzaga versus Ohio State for a spot in the Elite Eight. You got to move Gonzaga forward there. Texas Tech and Michigan State. I'm going to go with Texas Tech. So we have a 1 versus 3 here in the Elite Eight. And we are going to have Gonzaga advance on to the Final Four out of that region. So then moving on down to the bottom left regional, Auburn's going to advance past the winner of that matchup. Then we're going to have Notre Dame pulling off the 9-8 upset over Xavier. Then I'm going to go with a 12-5 here, the winner of San Francisco and Indiana. I think both of those two teams can beat Houston. San Francisco, I think, may end up winning that game. I'm just not a big believer in Houston. If you guys have been watching my recent bracketologies, you've seen that I haven't had Houston advancing very far. I think they can pull off the upset there. And then I'm going to have another upset here with 13 seed Vermont pulling off the upset over UCLA. I have no idea what's going on with UCLA right now. They were one of my favorite teams to make the Final Four, maybe even a national championship contender, but I have no clue what's going on with them right now. They haven't been putting together very many quality wins ever since their win against Arizona. I'm going to go with Vermont there to make some noise. Then I'm going to go with another upset pick here, pulling it, going crazy. Memphis, I think, will beat Chicago, and then I think that they will also beat LSU there. LSU, if they're not making shots, they have a great defense, but their offense can get them into trouble. I'm going to go with Memphis advancing on there. The winner of Loyola versus Memphis will advance there. So we have an 11, 12, and 13 seed in this regional. Villanova will advance past Wagner. Iowa State will beat Wake Forest, and then we're going to have Purdue moving on past Colgate. And then for a spot in the Sweet 16, Auburn's moving on past Notre Dame. The winner of San Francisco and Indiana, I do think, will beat Vermont. Villanova will beat Memphis, and then we are going to go with Purdue moving on past Iowa State. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we're going to have Auburn advancing on past the winner of San Francisco and Indiana. Their Cinderella run is going to come to an end there. Then Purdue and Villanova, I'm going to go with Purdue. But then for a spot in the Final Four, Auburn versus Purdue, these two teams are neck and neck in my opinion. I am going to go with Auburn there. I mean, that's like a 50-50 matchup there. I'm just going to go with the talent of Auburn. Both have a potential top 5 pick. Auburn with Jabari Smith and then Purdue with Jaden Ivey. Be interesting to see what actually happens there if those two teams were to play. So then we'll move down here to the bottom right regional. Kansas is advancing on past Cleveland State. Then we're going to go with Murray State, who just destroyed Belmont last night. They'll advance on past St. Mary's. Then North Texas, I'm pulling off another upset pick here. They're going to beat Alabama. Providence, I think, can beat New Mexico State. Then we're going to go with Arkansas, moving on past TCU. Wisconsin will advance past Montana State. Michigan will pull off the 10 over 7 over Marquette. I love me some Marquette, but I think Michigan's starting to turn it around. They're preseason 1 seed for a reason. I think that team is starting to play like it. And then we'll have Kentucky moving on past Jacksonville State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, Kansas is moving on past Murray State. Providence will advance past North Texas. Arkansas, I think, can pull off the victory there. The upset 6 over 3 over Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's really good with Johnny Davis, but Arkansas has been playing out of their minds recently. I'm going to go with an upset pick there. Then we're going to have Kentucky advancing on past Michigan. Then Kansas will fall to Providence here. We're having a 1 seed lose before the Elite Eight. I got Providence with the way they've been playing, and Kansas can disappear at times. I got Providence advancing on to the Elite Eight, where they will face Kentucky, but then they will fall to Kentucky for a spot in the Final Four. I got the Wildcats advancing on to the Final Four. So then moving on to our last regional, Arizona will advance past UNC Wilmington, obviously. Wyoming, I think, can pull off the upset over Seton Hall 9 over 8. Then we're going to go with Texas over South Dakota State, along with Illinois over Chattanooga. Then Iowa will fall to North Carolina. I think that would be a great matchup to see. That one's either going to be like a 90-point game or a 60-point game, and total points scored between the two teams, or not total points, just points scored with both teams. And we're going to have Tennessee advancing on past Northern Iowa. Rutgers pulling off the 10 over 7 upset over Boise State, and Baylor beating Long Beach State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, Arizona will move on past Wyoming. Illinois will move on past Texas. Tennessee will beat North Carolina in a battle of some good basketball history schools there. And then Rutgers will pull off the 10 over 2 over Baylor. Baylor has been a little bit inconsistent recently. I mean, you can say the same for Rutgers after going on that absolute tear. I think they've lost their last 2 games there. But I think that Rutgers could pull off the 10 over 2 upset. And why not have some fun in this bracketology? Arizona will beat Illinois to move on to the Elite Eight. Then Tennessee, I think, will end Rutgers' run there to move on to the Elite Eight, which sets up Arizona versus Tennessee. A rematch of their matchup in Tennessee, where Tennessee won by 4 earlier this season on a neutral floor. Who do I want to go with? I'll go with, do I want to pull the victory with Arizona with their first-year coach? I think I'm going to go with Rick Barnes and Tennessee advancing on. Pulling off an upset there, it'd be kind of chalk to have 3 1 seeds in the Final Four anyway. Why not go with Tennessee there, which sets up 3 SEC teams here in the Final Four. But anyway, Gonzaga versus Auburn. I think that Gonzaga will end up winning that game. Tennessee versus Kentucky. 2 blowouts, basically. Kentucky beat Tennessee by like 30 the first time around. Tennessee blew out Kentucky in the second time around by like 15 or 18, something like that. Maybe they'll meet in the SEC tournament, but if not, they'll have their round 3 here in the Final Four. What a place to do it, but I do have Kentucky advancing on in that game, which sets up Kentucky versus Gonzaga for a spot in the national championship, or for the national championship, I should say. And I think this one will depend on the health of Kentucky. If fully healthy, I think Kentucky will win that game. But if we are missing Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington, I do think Gonzaga will win. And as of right now, both those 2 players are not playing. So I am going to pick Gonzaga to win the national championship. But if Kentucky can get those players back, I think that Kentucky will win the national championship. So there we have it. Those are my predictions for the NCAA tournament based off of today's bracketology. Let me know your thoughts about my prediction in the comment section below. Let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to enter the tournament ticket giveaway and join the Discord. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all later.